Hi, we're here to conduct a mutual interview today. Today is Friday, May 30th, 2025. The time right now is 4:16 p.m.
We are doing this interview as part of the IYS project, Intergenerational Stories of Youth Participating in Acts of Service and Justice Made Possible Through Faith and Service grant from the 10x10 collaboration at Fuller Theology Seminary in Pasadena, California, with funds provided by the Lilly Endowment Incorporation and fully supported by the Coordinated Intergenerate.
This story project is all about noticing the youth in our churches that are already participating intergenerationally in acts of service and justice. I have noticed that you, Xaden, are participating in activities, whether in worship, ministry, community, wherever, here at the Restoration Praise Center. And we really want to not only highlight what you are doing, but also talk to you about how we can do a better job of helping other youth and really all of us engage in acts of service and justice. We want to help not only our church, but youth in church all over the world who are going to be interviewed so that we can listen to each other about what we all need and how we can engage with each other better in acts of service and justice. This is what we call a mutual interview. Everything I ask you, you also get to ask me. And we will also take turns on who asks first. So it's fair, right?
Please remember, if we get to a question for either of us that we are not sure about or don't want to answer, we can say pass to skip over it or for later, and we can come back to the question later. Are we ready? Let's get started.
All right. Well, let's pray. God, we thank you for the time that we have here with Xaden. And I get to learn more about him and we get to learn more about each other. Lord, we're asking that you please enlighten our minds and bless this process and this conversation. Amen. So, what is your name and how old are you?
I am Xaden Nehemiah Samakula, and I'm 13 years old. What is your name? How old are you?
Oh, well, okay. My name is Sheritha Simakula and I am 40 years old.
What pronouns do you identify with?
I identify as she, her, girl, woman. And what pronouns do you identify with?
He, him.
He, him. Um, all right, so describe yourself in 5 words or fewer.
Mm, I'd say energetic, kind,
Mhm.
uh, thoughtful, caring,
Mhm.
and genuine.
Okay, cool.
Can you describe yourself in 5 words or fewer?
Probably fewer. Energetic, honest. I am. I'm a very joyful person. Um, and I'm also thoughtful. So was that 4?
Mhm. Okay. What kind of schooling are you doing? Are you already done, or are you still going? And if so, what are you learning?
So I went to school. I went to college for social work, and then I continued my education postgraduate, and I got my master's degree in social work. But I focused on, um, actually, very interestingly, I focused on community organizing and public policy. So it was a lot of social justice in that, and that's what I focused on. Currently, that is not what I do for a living, but I try to keep my mind fresh by learning new skills. So I take certification classes sometimes just in spaces that I'm interested to learn more about, like data analytics or research or agriculture. I will study things like that. So, what kind of schooling have you completed? Or if you're in school right now, what grade are you in?
All
And
right.
what are you attending?
So currently, I have finished elementary school, and I am in the eighth grade. And I think on this Thursday, I will be graduated out of it, and have middle school completed. Currently, I'm going to the Tacoma Academy Preparatory School.
Cool, cool. And what is your favorite subject area?
My favorite subjects is either science or math, but probably math because it always makes sense. There is no exception, and it's a constant.
Oh, that I like that. Okay, cool.
What's your favorite subject?
Um, my favorite subject right now, something that I'm really interested in, is I've been reading a lot of self-help books, a lot of books on how to be a better person, to manage time, manage money, and also I'm really into plants right now. Um, so I've not only been buying a lot of plants, growing plants, and reading up about how plants grow, how to nurture them, and I don't know where this is coming from, but if I could be a farmer right now, I think I would.
Hmm. What's your favorite hobby?
My favorite hobby is taking a long hike. I love outdoors and I love going for hikes. And so if I could go and hike on a nice cool day anywhere near water like streams or waterfalls, I'm in. Tell me about your favorite hobby.
My favorite hobby? I don't really have one. It's just anything that's active. Like I like riding my bike. I like rollerblading around the neighborhood.
Mhm.
Football's fun, and baseball, just things like those.
Oh, okay. Cool. What is your favorite TV show or YouTube videos and why?
My favorite TV show would have to be Craig Creek on Cartoon Network, simply because how relatable it is. Because it's about a middle child with an older brother and a younger sister, and just how he interacts with the kids at the creek, at school, and in his neighborhood.
Mm.
What's your favorite show?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Okay, I don't really have a favorite, but I have a favorite genre. Um, so I really like um, South African and Nigerian movies. Right now, that's been my thing. Or I like a good cop show. And why do I like South African or Nigerian movies? I think because I just really love just seeing how um the dramas kind of play out and how relatable the stories are, even though it's on a whole nother country. It's just so relatable. And I don't know, I love it. I love it. I love learning about different cultures and even through watching those movies, it's fun. I don't know. But I can tell you why I love a good cop show. I really like how the stories unfold and how problems get solved. And at the end, the good guy usually wins, usually. So, yeah.
Think about a time you laughed the hardest.
Um, this really doesn't make me sound like a good person, but I remember when I was a child, my family went on a hike and we were hiking with a neighbor. And this neighbor, I just remember he had the biggest head. I mean, this kid just had a massive head, and I don't know why that's important. But anyway, we went on this hike and we were on a narrow trail on the mountain, and he slipped. He slipped and he seemingly fell off the side of this mountain, which was like a sharp cliff. but it kind of was like a hill. So we all kind of panicked and we looked over the edge and we were trying to get to him. And do you know he was stuck in a bush by his head? And the whole I'm sorry, the whole family just fell out laughing. We were in tears because that child had the biggest head and it saved him that day. And I remember that to this day that I've never laughed that hard before, but that was pretty hilarious. Tell me about a time you laughed the hardest.
I actually couldn't tell you because every day I'm always laughing about something. Like, I'm not sure if this would be funny to anyone else, but while I was in Orlando, we were in the hotel room and we were about to go, and I didn't know what to wear. And so I'm like, I don't know what to wear. And then my friend Gabriel, he said, just pick something. And then we all burst out laughing and we started talking about how I sounded like a cliche teenage girl from a TV show. And then we started mocking them. Like, we got on the bed, picked up our phone, and said, "Oh yeah, I'm totally thinking about Brad and how he won the game last night." And we were just laughing so hard.
That is really fun. What is the worst food in the world?
Either okra or curry. I hate. Actually, no, okra isn't that bad. I don't like curry. Curry just tastes weird. It smells and looks delicious, but when I taste it, something about it, I just don't like it.
Wow, good to know. Curry. Okay.
What food do you hate the most?
I actually I don't know. I don't know. Um, I remember when I was small, I hated eggs, but now I love them. But I'm trying to think in this moment, what is the worst food in the world? I don't have it. I don't know. I don't know.
Can you describe what your perfect meal would look like?
Yes. Brown rice with green onions cut up in it, um, chicken and eggs and spinach. All of that. Like my favorite food. Eggs and rice, definitely, for some reason. Just eggs, rice, salt, and pepper is good. But if you add those other things, I'm good. I can eat that all day, every day. Can you describe the perfect meal?
Well, right now, I don't really know because every day I'm craving something different. Some days it might be chocolate, some days it's something savory. So I think the perfect meal for me would just be like a bowl of mush, and it tastes different depending on what you're feeling like.
That's fun. Okay, so the next question is two parts, right? So
Hmm?
the first part is describe what family means to you.
I mean, like literally or like emotionally.
Oh, wow. Do both if you want to. But if you do it literally, then that answers the second part of the question of like who makes up your family.
Yeah.
But emotionally, you can answer that too if you want.
Mhm. Well, literally, your family is the people who are related genetically to you, like your mom. Me, it's my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, my grandparents, my cousins. But emotionally, a family is someone who you can trust, who makes you feel appreciated and safe. And yeah, all right. How about you?
Well, I can't follow that answer. That was very brilliant and spot on, and I will agree with you. I love a family where you feel appreciated, safe. I love that, especially the safety piece. Hmm.
What about literally? Who's in your family?
I have my husband. I have two sons and a daughter, and that's my immediate family, and then a whole host of aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews, and of course my parents and even grandparents. I'm blessed to say that I still have. So yeah, family.
Hmm. All right. Describe your favorite music, art, or anything else that inspires you lately.
Okay, so I discovered lo-fi music on YouTube. um and I mean I have just been inspired because for I don't know what it is about this lo-fi genre. It is quite quite amazing, especially for all those times where I have to really focus on a task. I just put that on and I am inspired to finish whatever I started. I don't know what that is. It's like focus music. It's like Zen. Is that the word? Zen. Describe your favorite music, art, or anything that inspires you lately.
Well, something that inspires me. It really depends on what I'm being inspired to do. Like to create something. Like I'm a very imaginative person. Like sometimes I'll just be walking, I'll see like a piece of trash on the floor and be like, oh, you know what that kind of looks like? It kind of looks like a shield or something. I think that sounds like a shield. But like if you want something that inspires me specifically, it would be my dad. I really want to be like him when I grow up.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, some things I know about him. He's a really funny person. He's really strong, very strong actually. He's also really smart. I know. I don't know exactly what he did, but I do know that he's really, really good at math, and I just want to be like him.
Cool. So let me ask you this: where would your dream vacation be?
My grandparents' house, my grandma's house. I really like it, just the way it is. Something about it, it's just I like it. I really like the trees, if I'm being honest. I know people are like, oh, I want to go to the mountains. Oh, I want to go here. Nope, I want to go to my grandparents' house because I just it's perfect. Where'd your dream vacation be?
Right now I'm really feeling Fiji, um, or Madagascar. I want to be in the spaces where there is lots of water, easy, simple foods to eat, and just complete relaxation. And maybe some fun animals to see. And yeah, I'm feeling that right now.
If you went to Madagascar, would you plan on meeting King Julian?
Of course. Who else?
What's a life giving thing that happened to you this week?
A life giving thing that happened to me this week. Actually, I think for me this week, I had a huge deadline for a project that I'm working on, and I just could not focus on it. And I felt really inspired. I was really busy on Wednesday night, and I needed to keep working, but I felt really inspired too because which was it was a Wednesday night. Usually, I am not home. I'm usually running um as one of my children to football or something. But anyway, for whatever reason, I had work to do and I was home and I could not focus. I couldn't get it done. And I really felt that the Lord wanted me to go to prayer meeting, even though I was busy. But I was like, you know what do I have to lose? I'm not focused. What better place to go to kind of refresh my mind. So I went to prayer meeting and I had the best time. And it's very seldom that I'm able to go again because I always have sports to go to, but I was able to come home and do you know that deadline that I was stuck on and I couldn't focus, I knocked that thing out. And I was that really was just like, whoa. That really was life-giving. Anyway, what's a life-giving thing that happened to you this week?
You know, I would love to answer that question, but I really don't understand what that means. Can you
Um,
explain to me? I would enjoy that.
sure. Would it be helpful if I explained life-giving in this context?
Yes.
Um, from how I'm understanding the question is something life-giving is something that maybe was inspirational or gave you renewed energy or a sense of joy. So with that being said, was that helpful?
Yes, actually, then I can think of something.
Okay.
So again, while I was in Orlando, as you know, a theme park has roller coasters, lots and lots of them. And there was a specific one called Stardust Racers, which is very famous because it's two roller coasters and they're racing each other. And
Hmm.
my teacher and a friend, Aiden, we got in line and I was scared the whole way up. Like my legs are shaking. I'm like, oh my goodness, I really don't want to ride this thing. Then they strapped me in, and honestly, I was just making jokes the whole time. When we got on the roller coaster, I was kicking my feet. I was really scared. We shot up, we went down. I wasn't scared at all. In fact, I was screaming out of joy. I stuck my hands up. and it was just so fun. And I actually went on to ride a few more that I was too scared to ride, including the world famous Velocicoaster, which was really, really fast. Very.
Oh, that is really exciting. I'm smiling really hard because I can only imagine how much fun that was for you.
Mhm.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, so, what is a not so life giving thing that happened to you this week?
Well, when I woke up, I was just thinking about, well, what do I got to do today? And I realized, oh, I got to put my bag away. And that, to put my bag away, I was pulling out things, memorabilia from my trip. And then I realized I only have a week left with these guys before I'm probably never going to see them again. And that kind of made me sad.
Wow. Whoa. Tell me more about that.
What more is there to share?
I don't, well, you said this is the last time I'm gonna see these guys. When you say these guys, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to my classmates that I've become close with, but not so close that I'm going to talk to them every day.
Mhm.
Like, let's take Ethan, for example. Ethan has been my friend for a long time. So even after I leave, I'm probably going to see him during the summer. I'm going to probably go over to his house, go places, things like that. Someone not so close would be my friend Joshua. Friend Joshua, I see him in the hallway. I talk to him. I play games with him at recess. Like after summer, I may never see him again, depending because our parents haven't met, so it's not like we can go over to each other's houses. I mean, we can plan things, but it would be a lot harder than to do when it would be with Ethan.
Mhm.
What's a not so life giving thing that happened to you this week?
Um, Earlier in the week, I got sick. I had all the things, just snots and sleepy and no energy, and that really was draining. Again, I had a big deadline, and I felt like I wasted. Well, it wasn't wasted, but because I was sick, I wasn't able to get going like I would have liked to, and you know, it was a time suck just being sick. I didn't want to be sick this week. Yeah.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be and why?
Okay. This is my favorite question in the world.
Me too.
Okay. If I could have, can I have two?
Yes.
Okay. So if I could have any superpower, it would be touch a book and absorb all the information indefinitely just by touching it. That's one. And be right. So, can you imagine just touch a book and be like, oh, of course, blah 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 blah, blah,
I
right?
can. I can. But the only thing
See?
I think about would be like, imagine trying to read a storybook, like something I really like chapter books, like mystery in them. Imagine going to the library, you pick it up, and you immediately know what you're about to read, so you just put it back.
Yes. And then I've read everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the caveat with that to make it even cooler is like I could turn it on and turn it off, right? So I could be like, I could touch a book, but I could tell myself, to absorb the information or not absorb it. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Look, refine my superpower. And then the other one is invisibility. Um, I would like that.
hmm.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be? And why?
Okay. All right. So if we're thinking about it, there'll be two. In a
Okay.
world of heroes and villains, and in the real world. In the world of heroes and villains, I want Plastic Man's powers because his ability is to stretch and like do things like that. I would really enjoy that. First off, I would be like, actually, it really depends on which one you want because when you say elasticity, you're referring to a rubber band. It can stretch, but you can't really like throw your hand to grab something far away.
Hmm.
We want to be amorphous where you could like stretch yourself, but it wouldn't be like plastic bands. It wouldn't be elastic. It'd be like you could stretch your arm, but you'd have to pull it back. There's no recoil to it. But if I was in real life, I'd want Green Lantern's powers because you can conjure up anything your mind can think of. And you might be thinking, oh, what are you gonna do with that? There's no one to fight. You don't have to fight anyone. Really, like you really wouldn't need anything ever again. You'd be like, oh, I don't have anywhere to live. Just conjure up a house. Better yet, just conjure up a bed. You don't really need a house. You're like, oh, what about the danger? What dangers? You can sleep out in the middle of the forest. What's gonna attack you while you're sleeping? Nothing really, because it's a wall. You can
It's a
build.
lot.
No, it's not a wall. You can build yourself a house. Things like that.
That's really cool. Okay. I see you. I see you. What is the most challenging part of your life right now?
Being broke. Summer is about to start, and I don't want to be asking my parents for money. Like, oh, can I have this? No, I want to find a job so that I can like have my own money to go do my own things without needing their help. I know they're busy, but then again, I do also want to help them during the summer. So yeah, what's the most challenging part of your life?
I'm actually gonna put a pass on this one.
Oh,
Ooh.
mm.
Mm. Okay. The next question I have for you is, who is Jesus to you?
To me, Jesus is a guy who looked a long time in the future and he saw me. He said, "That's my son right there," and I want to give him a chance at redeeming himself because I know that he's going to be born into this simple world. And so he decided to take time out of his life to die for 3 days and do that for me specifically. And I like that.
Hmm, that was absolutely beautiful and relatable.
All right. Who is Jesus to you?
Wow. As I've gotten older, I think that Jesus has been different things in different seasons of my life. But in this very moment, Jesus is just complete peace. Um, I think, as an adult, there's so many things that we are, and I'm putting this in air quotes, responsible for. Um, and it gets exhausting to feel like you have all of this weight on your shoulders. Um, you have places to be, you have people to report to you, you have things to do, you have other little people to take care of and all of their things, and not to mention the cost associated to all of the above, both financially, emotionally, time. And as you got to somewhere in there, you got to find time to exercise, shower, and make sure you don't look crazy, and go to the doctor and eat healthy. Oh, and feed the other people in your life healthy foods too. It's a lot to manage. And so for me, right in this season, Jesus is just peace. Um, and I'm learning that my identity is in Christ and that I don't owe anybody anything. Um, and I don't have to be perfect because Jesus is perfect all by himself. And so by me just relinquishing all of that stuff I listed, I'm good. And so my new saying right now, well, it's not new. I've been saying it, is just, that's none of my business. And I mean it. I give it to the Lord. It's none of my business anymore how he decides to handle whatever. And so right now for me, Jesus is peace.
Mhm.
Well, what helps you currently engage with God? Where do you notice God, sense God most clearly?
Something that helps me engage with him was that recently I was in my parents' room and I was just messing around and I saw this little box on my mom's bedside table. I'm like, what is it? And she's like, oh, it's a Bible for like teens. And I'm like, oh, can I have it? She said, yeah. I started reading it and I realized that inside the Bible there is a guide to help you read it, help you understand it, and it's also a mini devotional. So I've been using that and I really like it.
The Bible?
Hmm.
Oh, so the Bible helps you engage with God, the tools inside the Bible. Wow,
Hmm.
I love that.
And something that helps me, no, something where I sense God the most is probably when I'm making a stupid decision. When I'm about to do something stupid, I could just feel him there, like, don't do that. Stop.
Mm-mm.
Stop. No, don't say that. Don't do that. Leave that kid alone.
Make good decisions.
Mhm. How do you engage with God? When do you feel Him most?
um, I engage with God um, in moments of silence. And you know what? I spend a lot of time in my car. So I tend to try to utilize those moments just being silent and speaking to God. But also, first thing in the morning, every single time I wake up in the morning, I have a song that, and it's like clockwork. As soon as I open my eyes, these words go in my mind: Holy Spirit, you are welcome here. Flood this space and fill the atmosphere. Every single time I open my eyes, the first thing in the morning. And so I know in that space that I feel close to God and I sense Him near. And I use that time first thing to kind of just whisper a prayer about my day. But I really find engaging with God in those moments when I'm alone and I'm just in mindlessness, like driving. It's just mindlessness. So, yeah.
Mhm. Where do you feel God seems absent or far away?
Where do I feel God seems absent or far away? When I'm impatient. Like when I'm faced with something that I'm like, Lord, I need to answer right now, right now, right now. I tend to feel like God is not right there in those moments. And it's not anything that God is doing, it's just that I'm being impatient. And yeah, in those very moments, I feel like God is far away. I'm like, I need to know right now, you know?
Mhm.
Where do you feel God seems absent or far away?
Probably when it's time for me to do what He wants me to do, because I'm not very good at taking hints. It's not like, oh, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I look up, I see a billboard advertising something, and it would be like, oh, I guess I gotta go do that. No, I would probably look up at that billboard and think, oh, wow, that's funny. I continue thinking about it. I'm not very good at taking hints. Like, if you wanted me to, I'd have to look at the wall and it would have to engrave itself in there.
So, when it comes to faith, we all have big questions. We can answer them in this interview, but we can definitely talk about them more in the future. For you, tell me a question that comes up for you when it comes to faith, God, and church. You can literally say anything, it's okay.
I don't really have any questions.
Hmm.
And the reason why is because to believe in Jesus, you need to have faith. And having faith is right. There was a definition. There was a verse. I remember reading it with my family and other times. I don't remember it on hand right now.
Hmm.
But basically, when I'm having faith, I don't really need proof or anything. When I'm having faith, so I really don't have any questions because it's faith. I don't need you to prove anything to me. I believe in Jesus, and that's that. You don't need
Hmm.
to. You don't need to ask me. Oh yeah, well, have you seen it? Well, no, I don't really have to. Just like I know there are other planets. I mean, I've never seen it, and I'm probably never gonna leave and go find them myself. But I know they're there.
I like that.
So,
Thank you for sharing.
what's a question you have?
Um, a question I have when it comes to faith, God, and church. Um, I I don't. I'll have to think on this some more. I'm going to say pass. Um, it's not really a question, but just yeah. No, I'll have to pass. Yeah, same.
Mhm. All right. Who do you talk with your faith about?
um, who do I talk to? Who am I able to talk with about my faith? Like,
Yes, that's what I
like if
meant.
I have questions or want to work through something.
Nope. Who do you ask? Who do you share with?
Probably my husband. He's pretty smart, and he is a person who is very um he's a student and he's very thoughtful and methodical. And so when we're sharing things about faith with each other, it's really helpful to have him as a sounding board because we're able to share our thoughts, but also go to the Bible and study together and find answers and to kind of have dialogue and be open, and it's safe. There's no judgment. Who are you able to talk to about faith? Your parents, siblings, family members, teachers?
I would say, hmm, my family and my friends. I talk to my family when it's serious, when it's like a genuine question, something that when I'm talking about how I feel, things that I'm going on with. And then with my friends, when it's a question, like a really stupid question about something. Like sometimes we'll just be talking and then we'll just randomly have a question that we want answered and we'll just like give what we think the answer is. I can't think of one right now because every time it happens, it usually ends with someone giving a stupid answer. Then we start clowning on them for thinking that. But yeah,
Hmm. Who do you find it hard to talk to about faith and God?
strangers.
Hmm. Can you share more about that?
Well, I don't know any strangers. Well, obviously, that's how they work. But most of the time, when I'm out and about and I do have a chance to share, I'm either surrounded with my family or people that are familiar. And I don't really have a chance to share with people who don't really know or who might know.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you find it hard to talk with your faith about?
Interestingly enough, strangers aren't hard. It's more so people that I know, and even people that I'm maybe close with that don't share the same faith as I do. Sometimes it's harder for me to talk to them about my faith because there is, some familiarity on their part with me. And sometimes people ask me about my faith because they've seen something, I don't know, that piqued their interest. But I I have found it hard in the past to share with them because maybe I know something about them that I know that it's going to be either a back and forth that I'm not in the mood for. I'm not a person who goes back and forth with folks. And I notice that people who do inquire of my faith that I do know, it's because they want to engage in some type of um spirit, not spiritual, but a theological battle. And I'm like, that's not something I do. So I find it hard to share my faith with those types of people who want to, go back and
Who
forth
want
and
to
try
argue?
to, huh?
Who want to argue?
Who want to argue? That was a long way of saying people who are argumentative. I don't battle for the wits about anything. That just is not my personality. So yeah, those types of personalities.
How do you listen to hear what the Spirit would have you do in your everyday life?
Oh, wow. I want to go back to an earlier question. It's just in those moments where I try to be very quiet and very still. But I've also do Bible journaling. I journal scriptures and I write how what I've learned from them, and I try to um, keep those journals. And in those moments while I'm journaling, sometimes I feel direction and I understand direction even just from the scriptures that I'm journaling about. So yeah, just being still and journaling about scripture. How do you listen to hear what the Spirit would have for you to do in your everyday life?
Me also going back to an earlier question, I really don't know because I'm not one that's like, it's not easy to get things across to me if it's not written in big bold letters on a
Mhm.
giant banner in front of my face.
Okay.
But if it's not like a really specific problem and it's something like, oh, hey, look, $20 on the ground. If it's something like that, and I think, well, thinking back to what I know, what should I do? Like, there have been multiple times when people just walk in and just drop money. I'm like, oh, I should probably get this back. But like, I can't find them because they're walking too fast. But in the end, I've always managed to get it back to them.
That's happened multiple times.
Yes, it's happened multiple times.
Okay, cool. So, how many years have you attended Restoration Praise Center in Maryland?
Right as long as I've been here, which is about like almost 7. I really don't know how long I've been here.
About 8 years. 8 years.
Okay.
8 years in January. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, you've been here the same amount of time as I have, haven't you?
Yeah, about 8 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you to describe our church in, if you describe our church, what 3 to 5 words would you use?
We'll describe our church. It's there's a lot of passion, um, of family, um, creativity, and there's a P word that's at the top of my tongue. I don't know if I want to say prayerful or powerful, um, but somewhere in there. If you could describe your church in 3 to 5 words, how would you describe
That's funny because I can't. I really don't know how I would describe that.
it? Try,
Uh,
try, try, try.
I would say community.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't really know.
Okay, community is a beautiful word too. Community. What is your favorite thing about going to church at Restoration Praise Center?
Pathfinders.
Hmm.
I love Pathfinders.
Tell me more. What do you love about Pathfinders?
I like how even though Pathfinder is supposed to be this serious, yes sir, yes ma'am thing, despite that, we're still able to have fun with each other and just connect with each other.
Hmm.
What is your favorite thing about the church?
My favorite thing about the church is working with children. Um, that keeps me completely engaged, and I absolutely love seeing children get excited about Christ. I also like helping kids solve problems and work through big emotions. So there's some amazing, brilliant, passionate, creative, um, beautiful children at Restoration Praise Center. And I just like working with them. I'm inspired by them. I learn a lot from them from all the ages. Um, I like joking with them. I love how helpful all of the children are, and especially, our youth. And yeah, I think that is my absolute favorite thing. They are the best thing about the church for me, is the kids.
What's your least favorite thing about going to church here?
The adults.
Oh,
The adults. Um, no, all jokes aside, I just think that um, I think my least favorite thing about church is, for me right now, it's the physical space, the worship space, and mostly because I've realized that I have headaches sometimes after church, and it has everything to do with noise. And so I guess with my big old age, I don't know what that means. Like I can't process loud noises, and I think it might be like the physical space sometimes. So that's like my least favorite thing. But other than that, yeah. Tell me your least favorite thing about going to church.
my least favorite thing would probably be anytime I'm asked to do something on stage. Because yes, I do appreciate the church asking me, and I do want to help, but I hate public speaking like a burning passion.
Mm, mm. Thanks for sharing. List one or two ways you feel you belong at Restoration Praise Center.
What do you mean?
Um, Ways you feel like you belong, is there it could be an emotion that lets you know that you belong, or is there, I don't know, a certain program that makes you feel included, or just what aspects about Restoration Praise Center make you feel like you belong?
Something about Restoration Praise Center that makes me feel I belong would probably be that every single time I go there, I'm never gonna like. Every time I go there, I'm always gonna experience joy, no matter how I'm feeling.
Wow, that's beautiful. Hmm.
It's the way you feel that you belong.
um I feel like I belong because I can always show up just authentically. I don't ever feel like I have to put on a mask, even though that tends to be the norm when we come to church. We tend to put on a mask, but I don't feel like I have to do that at Restoration Praise Center. I could feel like if I'm feeling sad, or if I'm angry, or if I'm joyful, or whatever real emotion, raw emotion I'm feeling, I don't have to put it away to come and be a part of that community, to be with my family in worship. So that's one way I feel like I belong.
Mhm. Can you describe ways, no matter how subtle, that you feel that you do not belong in your faith community?
Um, I don't think a lot of stuff is a big deal. And there's a lot of passion around things. And I'm just like, that's not really a big deal. Or I'm really flexible in that it's, something doesn't go one way. I'm okay with it not being that way. Um, that someone has told me that that can come off as dismissive. Um, but I just don't think that everything is a big deal. Um, and I'm very flexible. If something doesn't work out, I'm good with just not doing it. And sometimes that doesn't go over well with people. But anyway, that's very vague. But yeah, it's just, I don't understand why everything is such a big deal when it's really not. But that's just how I feel. But anyway, can you describe any ways, no matter how subtle, that you feel you do not belong in your faith community?
No, I cannot.
Cool. When you serve at church or in community, do you work with others? Describe who they are and their ages.
Well, at church, I usually work up in AV.
Hmm.
I did an AV. Anyone, well, not anyone, but a lot of people can work there. Like we have parents, other adults, young adults, and my brother, some people from my Pathfinder club in my youth group. And the youth group is about like teenage age. Young adults would be like teenagers from like their 20s to 30s. Then the adults are all like from 30 beyond.
Hmm. And you said you serve with them in the AV room when you're working at the church?
Hmm. That's
Cool.
what we do the cameras and audio.
Okay.
Who do you serve with that church?
Um, when I serve at church, I usually work well. So specifically when I'm doing children's ministries, we have a team, and it's pretty diverse in age. Well, sort of. We do have an elder on our team. When I say an elder, someone who's 50 plus, and then the rest of our team is generally around the same age. But then also we have the youth, the teenagers who support us, and they take the lead on a lot of things. So that is really helpful. So when I'm usually doing that work, that's the group that I'm working with. Service and justice can be enacted in a lot of different ways when we walk in the way of Jesus. Let's read five key scripture passages and answer some questions together, okay? As we listen to what God's word has to say about service and justice.
1 John 4:19 says, "We love because God first loved us." Where is it easy for you to love others, and where is it not? How does our love impact how we participate in acts of service and justice?
Okay, so where it's easy to love others is probably in spaces where it's familiar, like family and friends, places where you feel comfortable. That's for me. And where it is not is where there is a known op and somebody who you op that has been, awful, and they just haven't they put a bad taste in your mouth. Sometimes it's hard to show that person love and respect. Um, how does our love impact how we participate in acts of service and justice? I think that we tend to show up and do things that are comfortable for us. So when we're doing acts of service, we tend to do things that, we know will make somebody else feel good. And maybe we don't do that for things, we don't do acts of service for people who get on our nerves. That's that doesn't make us feel good because I don't know, but that probably is something that we should do. But yeah, that impacts the way that we serve is probably leaning a little heavier on the people who are easier for us to love and who reciprocate a great relationship other than people who we mutually just have disdain for. But anyway,
Mhm.
how about you?
It is easy for me to love others when they've experienced something that was bad, whether they got their feelings hurt, or something that they didn't like happened, or something bad happened. And some place where it's hard is when they're getting on my nerves. When they're getting on my nerves.
Yes.
There's only like I only know one person that has never ever gotten on my nerves ever.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and I think love affects how we participate in acts of service. For me personally, not really. Because something that I like to think is that when I'm having a problem, you need to stop and think about, you need to disregard your feelings and think what really happened here. Like if I'm mad, like if I'm feeling lazy, right, and I'm asked to help my neighbor with their yard. Even if I'm feeling lazy, they need help with their yard, and if I can do it, then I probably should. So,
Mm-hmm. Describe a time you experienced kindness, whether to yourself or another, and why was it important?
well, for the third time on my Orlando trip, my mom told me not to share money with my friends. I said okay, and immediately forgot it. And I ended up misreading a sign, and I actually spent $50 on me and my friends. And honestly, I was fine with that until I realized how expensive everything is in theme parks. And on the second to last night, we were at a restaurant, and I didn't have enough money for anything. So I kind of just sat there, and I was just on my phone. And then my friend Elijah, he ordered food, but he didn't need it. He just tapped me on the shoulder. He said, "You want this?" And he gave it to me, and I really appreciated that.
I appreciate that, Elijah, too.
What's the time you experienced kindness?
Well, there's just been so many times. I can't think of a time. There's just been so many times I experienced kindness. Wow. I mentioned earlier that I enjoy plants. Um, And one morning I went to work and on my desk was a box and I opened the box and there was a plant light, like a grow light for plants. And there was a note and it was anonymous and it just said, you bring joy and kindness and sunshine. And I just want to give you some sunshine um, for your day. And that was it. It was anonymous. And I really appreciated that. That was really kind, and that person, whoever it was, wasn't looking for a attaboy or a thank you because they signed it anonymous. But that was just really kind, and it made me think about whoever that was. Perhaps at some point I showed them some kindness, and I don't even know who this person was, but that was a cool gift, and I really appreciated those kind words.
Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are what God has made us, created in Jesus Christ for good works, which God prepared beforehand so that we may walk in them."
How do you think we are uniquely created by God to participate in good works?
I think we are uniquely created because when He makes us different than everyone else in a way
Mm,
that we are unique. And because of that, in our life, there will come a time where there is a situation where you and only you can solve, whether it be a problem
mhm,
or a time where you will do what no one else will, or you will do what no one else can, something like that.
mhm.
How do you think we are uniquely created by God to participate in good works?
Actually, you hit the nail on the head. I was going to say something very similar, um, that we are all uniquely created to do unique things. So, yeah, bravo. You said it.
In RPC, in your community, how do you participate? And what special skills, acts of service do you bring to the community?
um, I participate in two ways. Sometimes I participate in front, and that's usually when I'm working with the kids, um, and being joyful and energetic and guiding them through whatever services or programming we have for them. But one of my other special skills is that I like assisting with programmatic and strategic planning. So working to either find money or drafting programs or connecting with community um, representatives or whatever it may be, whatever the church may need to get the ball rolling on a program or something of that sort, or planning, long-term planning. I don't mind working behind the scenes to do that type of work too. I really I enjoy that, and that's a skill that I have. And RPC and in your community, how do you participate, and what special skills or access service do you bring?
I participate by, and this is also what I bring. I don't really have something specific. I'm more like a helper. Like you ask me, oh, we have to go move these boxes. All right, I'm there. Or we have to help set up this thing. Then I guess I have to help too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really just there to assist with whatever anyone needs.
Mm-hmm. In addition to what was already mentioned, can you list two more gifts or skills or talents that you used to participate, that you notice that's in you, that you bring to your church or your community?
I don't know.
Oh,
I
no,
think
I'm sorry, I did that wrong. So, in addition to what has already been mentioned, list two or more gifts, skills, talents um, that you notice in me that
hmm,
I bring to the community.
I would say that you are definitely a leader when it comes to things. Like if something needs to get done, you will take charge. And another thing that you do is I'm not really good at like describing things or people.
Hmm. Well, it said one or two. That works.
Oh, other than
Let's
being a leader,
do two or
or
more.
also a source of joy all the time.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Hmm. In addition to what has already been mentioned, list two or more gift talents, gift skills, talents, or participation you notice in me that I bring to this community.
Um, wow. You mentioned that you are a helper, but I do notice that you are somebody who also knows how to get things done. So beyond helping, you tend to see where there is a gap and you can fill it without somebody having to tell you, hey, can you do that or can you help me with this? So you tend to anticipate the need and then you go ahead and you do that. That is really insightful. You have a lot of insight there. And then also, you tend to make people feel welcomed who may have otherwise been unseen. If somebody is sitting on the outskirts, you tend to find a way to include them. And you always stand up for the kid or the person who is being mistreated. And I've seen you not only use your physical stature to check a bully, but I've seen you also um, find ways to make peace between two different parties. And you tend to shut down um, any type of tiff or issues. You keep the peace. You keep the peace. So yeah.
First Peter 4:10 says, like good stewards of the manifold grace of God, serve one another with whatever gift each of you has received. What unique gift or gifts has God given you to share with others?
Oh wow. I think one of my unique gifts is that I can see a solution to a problem, um, and I can draft up a whole plan, a whole solution, and I don't know where that comes from, but I can tend to do that. I can see a solution to a problem. What unique gifts or gifts? What unique gift or gifts has God given you to serve others?
I'm gonna have to pass with this question because, then again, I don't, I'm not really good with personal questions, and I know because there have been times I'm just sitting in my room and I'm trying to figure out, like, what am I good at? What do I do? What am I? And I just can't come up with an answer.
Mm-hmm. What do you think it means to be a good steward of our gifts?
I think it means to use your gifts appropriately. Like, if you are good with talking to people, well, no, that's not a good example. Yeah. No, if you're a good leader, you shouldn't be using that to lead people away from what you know was right. You should be using it to steer people in the right direction.
Mm,
And there's actually a parable about this where a master gave three of his servants money. One of them buried it in the dirt,
mm,
the other two invested it. The one that got buried in the dirt got punished. The one that went out and did something with it, he got to keep the money they made. And the other one that made really good investments, he also got to keep the money that he made.
mm.
What do you think it means to be a good steward with our gifts?
I think it means to use them for good. Use them for good, not evil. That that's a really simple way of saying it, but yeah, use them for good and not evil. And really, when we're talking about being a steward of our gifts, I think about who is the gift giver. And I think that if we see our talents as gifts from God, it would only be fitting to use them to bring glory to God. So that's what I think also means to be a good steward of our gifts.
Hmm. Do you ever feel your gifts or the gifts of others are ignored or squelched? I like that word.
Squelched. Uh, do I ever feel like my gifts are squelched? Yes. Do I think gifts of others are squelched? I do. I think that adults are the reason why a lot of gifts are squelched, because I think adults go around and they squelch the gifts of kids, instead of letting these little people be who they authentically are. Or um, a lot of times adults try to prescribe, different things to children of who they should be or what they would like to see kids do. And I think in those situations, the true talents of those kids are squelched, or or when a certain talent just doesn't fit um, the space and time. So um, for instance, there was a article I was reading of a young man, and he would doodle. He would doodle so much at school that I think he was put out of school. But he was doodling on the desks, and he was doodling everywhere. He would just doodle, just draw, make little drawings. And they kicked him out of school for vandalism. He was doodling on stuff that I guess he wasn't supposed to. But a local restaurant heard about his situation, and they invited him to make a mural in their restaurant. And this little boy drew his whole community in like little doodles on this massive wall at the restaurant. And then all of a sudden he's a genius. And so those are instances where it's just like his talent didn't fit that space and time, but he clearly has a talent. And it was squelched by his school administration, but we got to see it grow somewhere else. So yeah. Do you ever feel your gifts or the gifts of others are ignored or squelched?
Uh, I wouldn't really know because I don't really notice that kind of thing. Because like where a place I've grown up, I think if you had like a talent, it would actually be encouraged and you've been given opportunities to help do those things. But that's like me personally, or in my community and in my
Mhm.
school. But your story also reminded me that when I was younger, I used to like these books, but this guy named Dave Pickley. He wrote
Mhm.
Dogman, Captain Underpants, basically which are basically an introduction to chapter books for young kids. And he got put out of school. Well, he didn't get put out of school. He was in detention a lot because he was always writing comic books and he was always drawing. And, and the teacher said is that Dave, you'll never make it anywhere in life drawing comic books. And so, because that one comment actually fueled him to become a best-selling author.
Wow.
And in his books, the two main characters are two kids who are always drawing comics.
And Captain Underpants.
Uh huh.
I get it now. And one of the characters' name is Dave, right?
Nope, it is George and Harold.
Oh, George and Harold. Okay. Cool, cool.
What generation do you belong to, and which generation do you most identify with?
Hilarious. So I guess I am a millennial according to this chart. But I mostly identify with Gen Xers and I guess the earlier set of millennial. And I think that's because of where I grew up. So growing up through the mid 80s through the 90s, there was a lot of, um, I don't know, there's just a lot of crossover um, of things I experienced that, yeah. Anyway, so yes. What generation do you belong to and which generation do you most identify with?
Gen Z and Gen Z.
Okay, so
Why? Because I was born in Gen Z. And a lot of things that people say is I was born in 2011, and people say, "Oh, Gen Z is not like, oh, they're not like us, the older ones, and they didn't grow up like us." And then they're always talking about that, and they're always wrong, by the way. So, and I identify with Gen Z because, again, I was born in Gen Z, and really, I don't understand what people mean like we didn't grow up the same way, like different generations. I know different generations are different, but when you say that, I'd really just imagine what the times were like.
hmm
Imagine that Gen Alpha, they were born with like, when they're born, they're brought into a world, they're brought into the digital age.
yeah,
They have things. They're like different. They entertain themselves in different ways than we did, but in the end, parents all pretty. In the end, our parents pretty much all wanted the same things for us. Just
Yeah.
grow up with a person
So, what do you think makes your generation, Gen Z, unique?
that I could be in the same generation, but someone who can have a wife and kids. I think that's pretty odd. It's very odd. Also, I think that something that makes my generation unique is that uh, they're actually noticing a lot of weird things that are going on in the world around us. Like they're saying, "Wait, why is this way? Why are we doing this? That's really inefficient compared to things like this."
Mm, okay.
What do you think makes your generation unique?
So I think what makes my generation unique is that our generation kind of grew up during, so like in the sandwich age, so in a time where there were still cars that you roll up the window, where there was landlines in the house. I know what a rotary phone is. I know, everything from, cassette players to VCRs. And like I seen those types of technologies in a home, even rotary phones, pay phones. So I grew up in that time, but then I saw the just this coming in of technology. And so we grew up, I didn't have computers in school, but then by the time I was in college, I had a PC in my dorm room. It was big, but I had one. And I remember, when internet came on, and I remember when um, like all those things kind of started. So I kind of was pre all of this technology, and I grew with it, and it's been a part of my life. And so I think that's what makes my generation unique.
Each generation has a special gift of experience to give our church. What do you think your generation contributes that no other generation can?
Again, I think it's that sandwich thing. I think we're like a bridge. Like we understand previous generations, but we still are sort of connected to younger generations because we kind of experience both. What do you think your generation contributes that no other generation can?
I think that we can provide different perspectives because my generation is relatively young compared to all the other ones.
Hmm.
We're the ones that are getting experienced by the things that the past generation has done. And so we can take that information and think, well, what would we want for the next generation? What would we want for them?
Mm, okay. In our church, where do you see generations left out or excluded?
Hmm. I don't really see that in our church. I don't.
Okay.
Where do you see other generations be excluded or left out?
Um, I'm trying to think. Excluded or left out? I wouldn't say excluded or left out. I just sort of think that Restoration Praise Center has a bigger um, population of like small kids and sort of like, you know, some young adults, maybe like 25 to 50 ish. So I don't think anybody's necessarily excluded. I think what's happening there is because of the people that are there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
What is something you wish kids knew about adults and older generations today?
What is something I wish kids knew about adults in the older generations? Um, I don't. I'll pass. There isn't anything that I wish kids knew.
Oh,
What is something you wish adults or older generations knew about kids?
I know that people say that, oh, kids are people too. But when I say
Mm,
too, I'm not saying like guard their emotions. I want them to realize that we can think like them too. Like there have been a lot of times where I've seen that a kid can think about a situation better than an adult can. And not like, oh, how would he feel? It's like, no, he genuinely can solve this problem better than he can.
I love that.
Like if like sometimes
Yeah.
I don't really like using the internet, if I'm being honest. Everyone on there, sometimes they're so stupid it hurts. They're so stupid it hurts. Talking about how why can't we have black LED lights, dumb stuff like that. But sometimes someone says something smart, something very smart, and I'm like, oh, I've never thought about that. And a lot
Okay.
of times it comes from a teenager just sitting on their phone that had a random thought. I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
what's up with this? Things like that.
Okay. Very insightful. Okay, well, First John 3:18. Let us love not in word or speech, but in deed and truth.
Where have you seen people failing to practice what they preach when it comes to loving others?
Mm, actually, in church, and I'm not saying RPC specifically, but I'm saying church as a general sense. I have found that some us as church going folk, we love to talk about love, but we aren't really good at it. And I think that's why our churches are dying
You
just
know,
across the world.
you know what that reminds me of?
Uh,
You know the show Young Sheldon?
mm-hmm.
Episode where they went to church after Sheldon's brother Georgie got that woman pregnant.
Okay.
Wanted to hold hands with them.
Uh-huh.
He made a good point when he said, "You guys love to talk about love, but when it comes to genuinely showing it, that's where you fail to show up."
Oh, so that happened on Young Sheldon. Well, I can attest that that's true, and I could tell a story about I could tell a few stories where I seen the church just failing to show love, and it's super practicals, the low hanging fruit, and they just fumble. So yeah, where have you seen people failing to practice what they preach when it comes to loving others?
I would say in my school actually,
Ooh.
because there's a kid in my class. His name is Aiden Maynard. Now, not a lot of people like him because he doesn't have a lot of social awareness. But a couple times these past few weeks, I've actually gotten to sit down, like genuinely talk to him, experience him. I realize he might not have a lot of social awareness, but he's not a bad person.
Mm,
Only reason why people call him annoying is because he doesn't know when to shut the humor off. There have been times, and also I've seen that they can also be quite rude to him. There was actually a time where they're in the elevator, and he asked Julian to stop shaking because he was scared it was gonna fall. And Julian stopped, and they're all clowning on him like, "It's not gonna fall. Just calm down."
mm-hmm. Okay. So if you were in charge of Restoration Praise Center, where would you want to put our words into action?
It depends on what our words are.
Okay. What is the mission statement? Do you know?
Not by heart.
Some keywords?
No,
Mm,
I'm not. Can't remember it.
okay. But in terms of, well, let's just say love. How can RPC put love into action?
I say that in our church we already do. Because there, like a lot of times, one of our favorite things to do is to go help homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
Is to go out and help people. We do that a lot, and I actually really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
If you were put in charge of our church, where would you want to put our words into action?
Um, I don't have an answer right at the top. I'll pass on this one. I have to think about it, but yeah, I'll pass. Yeah.
If your church won $1 million prize and you were in charge of spending it as a wise steward of God's mission, what would you do with it?
Wow, that's fun. Um, I would probably take care of any debt the church had, and then I would create a special space. Um, yeah, get rid of any debt, and then up the technology capabilities of the church to better engage with our community and children specifically. That is it. Because when you cater to the kids, people tend to come. If you take care of people's kids, people tend to come. So if we had a strong base for our kids continually, I think that it would just strengthen all pillars of the church. Now, if your church won $1 million prize and you were in charge of spending it as a wise steward of God's mission, what would you use it for?
I'd give it to someone else because something about me is that I'm a notoriously bad spender.
Okay.
Very, very terrible. I remember my great grandma, she gave me $200. My mom told me, Xaden, you better say that because you better go on a trip. Me and my friends, we went to the mall, gone, $20 left, spent 90% of it. And I was going to go with like nothing but $20. I'm like, I'm not really gonna be buying anything. We're gonna be going someplace. Like we're just camping. We're not really gonna be anywhere to buy anything, except in like the airports. But my mom told me I should probably call my family and ask for something. And that was a good idea because airport food is expensive. One time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Micah 6:8 says, God has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what did the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. That's actually one of my memory verses from the school year.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Well, here God shows what it looks like to enact justice. How do you think we can enact justice in our current day with kindness and humility?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a situation, but I can't. So I'm going to pass on this one.
Okay.
How do you think we can enact justice in our current day with kindness and humility?
I think just simply do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Um, and just keeping a watchful eye and to help people, when they need help. I don't think it has to be anything profound, but it just really simple. Just be kind. Do what you would hope somebody would do for you. Yeah.
What would justice look like when it comes to including all generations of our church?
Oh, what would justice look like, including all generations in our church? Um, Actually, I think it'll be not putting up walls to say that certain age groups can't do anything. For instance, I don't understand why there aren't more teenagers on the boards of churches. Um, and I say that, huh?
That's interesting.
Yeah, there should be teenagers on the boards of the church because um, I think that the church has a really bad habit of prescribing specific things for age groups, and I don't see that as an example in the Bible. I mean, there are examples where people of all ages did incredible things, and in the world we see kids going out, and there was a campaign that was ran maybe 10 years ago back in Florida. And I can't even remember what the situation was, but there was a whole bunch of teenagers who got together in a high school and then they ran this nationwide campaign and a march at the Capitol and they got bills signed. It was a whole thing. And this is ran by like 15 to 17-year-olds, but we can't have them serve in high positions in the church. Like, you know, and that annoys me. And I could see little kids and young adults learning very technical mathematical problems or learning how to play very technical musical pieces like Chotsky or something. But when it comes to preaching the word of God or learning complex things about the Bible, we tend to prescribe age groups. Oh, this is you only could be this age kind of thing, or you have to be more mature. Who says? Why is it that the world allows you to explore your gifts and talents is even when you're young, but when it comes to things of God, people want you to be a certain age or maturity. So anyway, I think that's where we could practice justice. What would justice look like when it comes to including all generations of our church for you?
I wouldn't know how to answer that, especially after what you said.
Oh,
Really, I don't know how to follow that up.
Cool.
What you're
In
saying.
light of yeah, okay. Well, in light of this study, where do you see yourself and our faith community already participating in service and justice?
Participating in service, serving, like like I said earlier, when we go out to help the homeless, I participate in that a lot, and I actually really enjoy that. Like
Okay.
packing the bags, I especially like giving it to them because when we give it to them, I get to speak with them and learn more about them, and
Hmm.
it's really fun.
Hmm.
I like that. And another place I participate would be in Pathfinders. And in Pathfinders, they actually, even though they have like a whole board of team members, people who like really, really run the club would be like the TLTs. That's like all of our teenagers. Like they're the ones that teach the classes, help us do honors and things like that.
Hmm.
Where do you see yourself in our faith community already participating in acts of service and justice?
I think in one way is by um, having our programs and services accessible digitally. I think that is a act of service. Just being accessible in a way to people who might not be able to physically get to church, and also to be able to share the word of God beyond the walls. I think that is a way that we are in service, but in also being inclusive, as you mentioned, of the younger people in leadership roles. You mentioned the TLTs and Pathfinders, but also you mentioned that you work with the audiovisual, and I noticed that the younger people are taking leadership in that as well. So I think that's where we are participating in service and justice already.
In one or two sentences, thank the other person here for the ways he, she, they participate in acts of service and justice in your community.
Well, Xaden, I would like to thank you again. We want to go back to the part about your strengths. You always find ways to make everything fair for everyone. So I want to thank you for standing up when most people would sit down. I want to thank you for using your voice to help others in need. In one or two sentences, thank the other person here for ways she participate in acts of service and justice in your community.
I would say, I know what I want to say, I just don't know how to say it. I would say thank you for creating opportunities for everyone in this church because I know that a lot of times the younger kids they're just told like just be quiet, sit down, like just pay attention. But like kids, they don't want to do that. Thank you for creating a space where they can learn, but they can still, continue being a kid. I would also
Mm.
thank you for always being there and being energetic, filling the room with life. Like something I noticed that in church and especially in our house is that the mood of the house really depends on how you're feeling.
Oh.
Like if you're mad, my siblings will go in the room like, "Why is she mad? What happened?" And if you're happy, everyone's smiling.
Hmm. Well, today well, well, we made it to the end of the interview. Zayden, it is an honor to hear how God is working in your life and in the life of your community, and how God is calling you to the life of service and justice. So thank you.
And mom, I am honored to hear your story and how God is working in your life and the life of your community and how God is calling you to a life of service and justice.
Today we will close in a mutual blessing, holding our hands out over each other as we send each other to continue in God's calling for our lives, our families, our church, and our world. So here's the mutual blessing as we close. Zayden, may the God who has richly blessed you with all good gifts remind you that you belong. You are a child of God.
And Mom, may the love of Christ dwell richly in your heart as you continue to seek to love others and enact justice and mercy.
And Xaden, may the love of Christ dwell richly in your heart as you continue to seek to love others and enact justice and mercy. And Xaden, may you feel the sending power of the Holy Spirit today, who emboldens you and enables you to do all that you are called to do.
And Mom, may you feel the sending power of the Holy Spirit today, who emboldens you and enables you to do that you are called to do.
Mhm,
You ready?
mhm.
So,
In the name of the Father
Father, Son,
and
and
Holy
Holy
Spirit,
Spirit, go in peace to love and
love
serve the Lord.
serve the Lord. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.